If the pregnancy is below 40 days old, you can terminate it. You can abort it.
Sorry, say that again. Say that again.
So yeah, so what I'm saying is that before the soul is breathed into, right? So like this is not even before. I mean, that's like it's very early stages. It's the first part of the stages. So at that point, like the soul hasn't been breathed in it, so it hasn't become like a living being yet.
And is that the justification for the abortion?
I mean, why? I mean, that's part of how Allah creates.
I have a question for you as far as Islam teachings go. And I just need you to clarify it for me. I'm going to share this, and I would just like your clarification on this, if you could, brother. Because I came across something that kind of threw me off a little bit.
Uh-oh.
First, it was, yeah.
It threw you off.
Why
Where'd
you
you
say
get it from? Like,
no, really, truly, what I want to know is just what your explanation is for this. First, I came across the video, and then because I was wondering what the Islamic perspective was on it, and then I went and checked and checked the hadiths to see if it actually matches what the video is saying. But this is being said. It's to do with abortion, and I just want
this
your
is Sheikh Asim al-Hakim.
yeah. I'm just gonna quickly play the video, and then after that,
The doctor is telling us to undergo a test, and the purpose of this test to check whether the pregnancy, whether the fetus is healthy, or there's a possibility of having complications such as Down syndrome or a deficiency in the body or something that is serious. And they would recommend to terminate the pregnancy if the test is positive. So he says, is this permissible? The most authentic opinion is, if the pregnancy is below 40 days old, you can terminate it. You can abort it. It's like having the after...
because the soul hasn't been
after
given
night
away.
pill, I think they call it. The after pill, which
I'll hear
a
it
couple
first.
may take after having intercourse, and it would terminate any possibility of pregnancy. So within the 40 days, it's permissible.
okay. So that was the video, and then I just want to
it's because what
hold
we
on, before you give me that, because I want to be fair. I want to be fair all across the board. I don't want people to try and say that this is, if there's anything about the Christian doctrine that you necessarily disagree with, please let me know as well, brother. But the thing is, I just want to be fair all across the board. So this is the hadith. All right. And it says, Allah's messenger, the true and truly inspired, said, the matter of the creation of a human being is put together in the womb of the mother in 40 days, and then he becomes a clot of thick blood for a similar period, and then a piece of flesh for a similar period. Then Allah sends an angel who is ordered to write four things. He's ordered to write down his, i.e., the new creature's deeds, his livelihood, his date of death, and whether he will be blessed or wretched in religion. Then the soul is breathed into him. So a man amongst you may do good deeds till there is only a cubit between him and paradise, and then what has been written for him decides his behavior, and he starts doing evil deeds. Characteristics of the people of the hell of fire. And similarly, a man amongst you may do evil deeds till there is only a cubit between him and the hellfire, and then what has been written for him decides his behavior and starts doing deeds, characteristics of the people of paradise.
This here would support what I was just saying about the soul hasn't been given yet. It's so early at the so it's not like the abortion of an actual living baby.
Sorry, say that again. Say that again.
So yeah, so what I'm saying is that before the soul is breathed into, right? So like this is not even before. I mean, that's like it's very early stages. It's the first part of the stages.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, like the soul hasn't been breathed in it, so it hasn't become like a living being yet.
Because what he was basically saying is after 40 days, in a sense, from what I got, is abortion is permitted. And I just want to know if that is indeed the case in Islam or is not.
Like these are matters that I think most people are not going to be knowledgeable in until they're faced with a situation where they have to research it, and then they're going to be like, okay, let me look into it. What's the position of Islam on this? Is there like a religious ruling on it? Is it explicitly mentioned in anything like by the Prophet, peace be upon him? So that like it's because once it's called a fatwa, like a religious ruling has to be made. It means that
What does that
body,
mean?
yeah, it means that the body of knowledge that we have allows you to come to a point where you can kind of make an educated decision on what position you should have, but it's not so clear cut. Because if it was clear cut, Quran or Hadith, then there's no fatwa. There's no religious ruling really, because it is like verbatim said. So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So because I don't like to misrepresent anything. I think this is the correct verse, the correct hadith. I hope I'm not misrepresenting Islam at all. Allah's apostle, the true and truly inspired, said, as regards your creation, every one of you is collected in the womb of his mother for the first 40 days, and then he becomes a clot for another 40 days, and then a piece of flesh for another 40 days. Then Allah sends an angel to write 4 words. He writes his deeds, time of death, means of his livelihood, and whether he will be wretched or blessed in religion. Then the soul is breathed into his body. This is the key word. Then the soul is breathed into. So a man may do deeds, characteristics of the people of the hellfire, so much so there is only the distance of a cubit between him and it. And then what has been written by the angel surpasses. And so he starts doing deeds, characteristics of the people of paradise, and enters paradise. Similarly, a person may do deeds, characteristics of the people of paradise, so much so that there is only the distance of a cubit between him and it. And then what has been written by the angel surpasses, and he starts doing deeds of the people of the hellfire and enters the hellfire. Now, from what I got there is the angel only breathes, and correct me if I'm wrong, only breathes life after 40 days. Is that correct?
I think it's later, because
it's later.
Yeah, it's later than that, because he's giving you those stages, and then so I think it's like 120 days.
120 days. Oh,
yeah.
Right. So it's even later. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. So did you have another question on that actually?
No. I just wanted to know whether there was religious grounds, because you hear these videos, but I wanted to see whether the scriptures, according to the Quran, actually backs this. So why 120 days? Why after a certain period of time? And is that the justification for the abortion?
I mean, why? I mean, that's part of how Allah creates. It's not so abortion. So like in Islam, there is kind of like the measurement of like harm versus good in those situations, right? Like, so does having the baby harm the mom, for example, right? Like having the baby, it would kill the mom, then you should abort. Like, you know what I mean? So there's a measurement of like harm versus good, and it would be much clearer like whether this baby would form correctly. I mean, like, imagine the soul being breathed in it like at the very beginning. That then you have no ability to do anything. Like if there's something going on that's going to harm, you become extremely sinful from the beginning. So it's a part of God's wisdom in how he creates. that he's giving us that leeway. It's not to say that, you know, my body, my right, all that, those
My body, my
ridiculous,
choice.
you
Yeah.
know, whatever it is that they say. It's not to say that, you know, because I'm a woman, I can sleep around and then I can just abort babies left, right, and center.
Yeah, that's
Well,
that's
this is completely wrong, and it's also like away from the, you know, the Islamic guidance of preserving your chastity and being married before you do anything. Like, so all those things to protect you from those situations. Not drinking alcohol, because alcohol also causes issues with, or, you know, with birth, or smoking, or any of those things that would like harm the fetus. Like keep your body clean and fit, really, to so that like you can have a normal life and allow normal life to flow from you. So yeah, so and the, like, aside from all of that, that's actually like a miracle in that, because it was stated in such clarity that a scientist will come and verify this, and they did, I think, in 1960s or so, that they came to realize that this is exactly how, like, because now they had the ability to actually look into the stages of birth and confirm those things. Of
if you
course, they won't understand when the soul happens, right? But they'll understand those stages and that description, like from a very minuscule level into the growth stages of the fetus. That is a miracle in itself, and it's both mentioned in the Quran and the Hadith.
I've seen different I see you've said 120 days, but I've seen others mention 40 days for, you know, for the ensoulment. Now let me just last question is, do you see Muslims, your regular Muslims, using this as an excuse to kind of, like, you know, living in the West, in the Western world, and some Muslims who are maybe not practicing their faith as well as they should? Do you see them? Can you see them using that as an excuse to kind of carry out an abortion just because it says that it's only after 40 you can kind of abort, because is it the sheikh? He was very explicit. Says yes, you can abort after 40 days, but he did give a caveat. He did give a caveat for, you know, if the baby is going to be born with you're going to be deficient and so on and so forth. But can you see how certain Muslims who are not necessarily, you know, like you, as well informed on their faith or are strong on their faith, can you see them misusing that?
I think if they're that astray, they wouldn't care to use anything.